Hello there, it's Barb Pask. Going to paint tonight. This is an 8x10 panel, and I went through my photos trying to determine what I'd like to paint. And this is the image. I'll show you the image first. Let's talk about it. I shot this out of the car window. You can see the guardrail there, but it's actually a pretty clear image. Now, there's a lot of things I don't like about it and a lot of things I do like about it. So I like the elements in it. I like the house, the pine trees. I like that tree behind it, the rolling hill up behind it. I think I even like that little shed. It's too far off to the corner, but I like it. Now, I don't like that it's divided in half. I don't like that the house sits dead center. So I don't like the composition, but I do like the elements in it. See the sky and the foreground's pretty much divided in the middle, and I don't like that. So I don't always, but I got a little sketchbook out, so I'm going to try to do, not a real precise little sketch. This is a good idea always. And you may be a person that always does it, to kind of set things up and decide what you're going to do. I don't as often as I should. A lot of times, I'm working from a photo and I have the composition I like in the photo. If you're outside, it's a really good idea. So I'm going to look at this and think about what I want. So you can do it any way you want. I'm going to draw the approximate format of an 8x10. And then we'll do some composite. We'll divide it into 9 squares. I talk about this frequently. And this is just a little quickie sketch. So ideally, you want your focal point in one of these intersecting areas or over that direction, not necessarily right there. And like I said, I love the little house. I do love the distant hill behind the house. But I don't want to divide this in half. Sorry, throat's messed up. So what I think I'm going to do, and this may all change, is we'll move the distant hillside up higher. Okay? And this is all just a guesstimate of what I think I want. There's a cute little barn back up in here, which we may, kind of suggest. Again, I really like the house, and I don't want to get it dead center, so we'll move it over a little bit. I'm sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing. I've got the photo here so I can see it. Let me move it over so I can get you more on camera. I'm sorry. Okay, so the house maybe approximately here. Some people just do the most beautiful sketches, and they do value sketches too, which is not a bad idea at all. There's 3 pine trees here, which I'm going to probably run one off. I do like seeing the tree trunks. There's a bit of a roof over here. We'll decide if we want that. And again, I'm thinking we may pull that little red shed into the scene. Something. And then there's that nice orange tree, which we might even bring it up and break that horizon line. And like saying, you can take this further. You could turn this into a value sketch. Whatever you want it. If, I wasn't traveling along, I could have got out of the car and shot many, many different compositions of these elements and come up with the right thing, and I wouldn't have to do this. And a lot of times it works for me just to crop the photo. You know, I'll put the cropping tool on and I'll just move things around, and frequently that's what I do. Didn't exactly work for this, you know, but you can do that. You know, go up to edit. I'm sorry, I already had cropped it some, I guess. Yeah, I'll show you what the original looked like. See, right out of the car. So if you edit and put the cropping tool on, you know, you could do a panoramic scene, which would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's pretty over here, isn't it? So that's something to think about for later on. You know, I'm looking up there to see what canvases I have. That'd be pretty interesting, wouldn't it? Because I like this hill. But again, I'm trying to kind of use the 8x10 as my format. See, that house is falling right there pretty good. But that's still a little large. It's more like that. Not bad. I mean, I did crop out the little building. Let's bring it in a little further. This is usually what I do. Now again, I wouldn't want to do half and half, but overall that's not too bad. All right, we're just going to use paint, and we're going to put this on here, and we're going to be changing some things, like I said. I'll decide about that little red building, whether I want to bring it back in. One thing I do want to do for sure is I do not want to divide things in half. So we're going to bring up this tree line. Boy, you know, sending it back, showing it like I shot it initially, I think this would be a really cool scene to do in a panoramic kind of view. So we may be doing that. I think I have the canvas that I painted Pinocchio on, that size. I think I've got some of those. So yeah, it's got me thinking. I really like that. All right, so we're just kind of transferring our photo, but again, we move the tree line way up. And we're doing kind of a value sketch too. You know, so am I using this sketch? Not really, I guess. But it, you know, makes you think. It makes you think about what you're doing. Okay, so that's our tree line. There's a field here. Like I said, we've got a, looks like a red barn back in there, which we'll decide whether that adds to the scene or not. Still not warm enough around here to get out the paint, but maybe soon. All right, the pine trees. So now that I've recropped this, I kind of go on with what I've got here. And again, that's usually what I do. I'm usually able to crop the scene and get what I want. Tell you my dentist story here. I went to the dentist on Wednesday. It's a cosmetic thing, but I made the decision I have some old fillings to have a crown put in. So he did the preliminary work and he did the crown, the temporary. It takes 2 weeks to get the permanent. And he did it some new way where you put the mold in the mouth, kind of make the tooth right in your mouth. I'd never had it done that way. And they seemed very pleased with the way it came out, and it looked great. It looked like my tooth. So I say it was Wednesday. So Wednesday after lunch, I think it was, I put a piece of chocolate in my mouth and I broke the inside of it off. So I called them up because I got to wait almost 2 weeks, and I said, what do you want me to do? Can I live with it like this, or do you want, you know, he's like, come back in. So I went in yesterday. Am I mixing up my days? Maybe I am. Yes, I went in Thursday. I guess I broke it Friday. I went back in the afternoon. I thought he was going to pull it out and you make, you know, like they usually do, make you one, shape it, put it in, test it. He ended up like filling it with like a filler stuff on the inside. Well, now they're closed till Tuesday, and I broke the inside of it again today. Now, I wasn't eating anything hard. The chocolate was a little hard, I admit, but today it was just a potato chip after lunch, or during lunch, I mean. So it wasn't hard, and it shouldn't have broke. So and again, they're not there Monday, so I have to decide, can I gently live with it for 2 weeks, or do I go back? I hate to keep going back. I felt really guilty the first time, but this time I don't think it was my fault. And of course, when you got something going on in your mouth, you can't keep your tongue out of it, right? You can't see all the detail on the front of this little house because there's like a bush there, and I'm not going to like that. I can see now. That was that little barn, but that's kind of where it was, and I don't really like it there. So quite a bit of stuff going on in this scene. I really like this orange tree. I really like that. And again, those are pine trees. It would have been a nice scene to have gotten out and, like I said, you know, been able to shoot a lot of photos and get better composition. And there's trees in the middle, more distant kind of trees. So we'll just kind of suggest some loose, scruffy stuff in the foreground. I can't really see the foreground. I do see one tree coming up here through the house, but, you know, do I want that? And the house is white. Hopefully we can make it have some nice depth, you know, make the row of trees back there feel like they're back there, and the foreground is much more yellow-green, which you would expect. All right, where to begin? In the past, I probably would have blocked in all the greens first. Got paint on myself already. I could start with the focal point, which is the house. I'm going to clean up a little bit of that so I'm not contending with so much of that dark. It's got a little metal roof, which is cute. I think we'll start with the house. It actually is kind of a blue tinge to it. Ooh, I tell you something I missed there that I do like is I want to make sure we get it. There's a chimney right here, which I think is really fun. It's an unusual house. The dormer is kind of off to one side. It's not in the center. Old houses, you know, they're just interesting and fun, I think. All right, so the lightest part of the house is the roof. So let's start with that. Take some white. It still looks cool to me, so we'll put a little bit of blue in it. Maybe a little yellow. Warm it up a little bit. Again, the body of the house feels more blue than the roof, so. All right, we'll dip into a little bit of our solvent. And you can see I toned the canvas, so I want to, you know, leave some of that poking through. I'm thinking about any of this paint that might get in my way. Yeah, this dormer's odd, kind of. It's off to one side. All right, let's get going here. I'm cooling it a little more and lightening it a little more where the dormer to me looks a little lighter. Yeah, it's really odd, the dormer. We'll see. I have to make it make sense, so if it means changing it, I will. Typical old house, 2 windows there. 2 there. Oh, okay. I've zoomed in and there's a skinny window there. You know, does it matter? Nah, no, probably not. All right, we're going to put more blue in this and cool it off for the body of the house. always saying it's your world. So if the house is green and you want it purple, you just do what you want. I wanted it a little lighter in the front, so looks to be like a little pole there. I don't know what that's about. You know, and I don't have to paint just what I see there. I'm going to switch back to the small brush that I sketched with. I mean, it's a teeny tiny house. Might be fun to do on that larger canvas too, you know, you'd be able to there's a little tiny, I guess it's a window up inside that dormer that we might be important to us. I'm looking at that shape of that dormer. It can be harder to work small, but I find it's easier to be impressionistic. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to get into detail yet. And that chimney is tall and about there. Okay, let's, got a lot of stuff to go in here, don't we? Lots of greens. Tell you one thing we are going to do, we're going to go back and get some value in this tree here. Even though it's an orange tree, we're just going to tone it with a little color. So, you know, this will be your focal point right here. I think what we'll do is we're going to go after some of these greens. Now, this is one light area here that I didn't get in that we, you know, we could throw in. Looks like a little barn, a red building here with a very light roof. All right. I'm going to mix up some different greens. The foreground is going to be a very yellow green. So let's make some different greens here. I'm going to start with a transparent green that I like out of ultramarine and Indian yellow. Makes a very dark green. We'll start with that, and we're going to lay in any darker greens that we see first. Always saying it's a puzzle. It is. It's like a puzzle. These pine trees are pretty dark. So we'll block them in, and we'll probably come back and, you know, add some lights to them. This one here is more blue. Don't know why. But I'm just trying to get the shape of them now, you know, without getting too fussy. But again, you can, I keep saying that, but you can start loose and block in like I do and just keep bringing it forward. I mean, if you want a very realistic scene, you can do that. Okay, there's a tree back in here that's dark. Now the distant hillside, it looks like it's, we'll see, I want it to recede, so we'll have to decide how it feels, you know. If this doesn't work, we'll be doing it again. And there's some fall colors back in there too. Not surprising, right? But we'll just do this for now, and then we'll add some more color to it. Kind of varying the heights a little bit. All right. There's the pine trees, and then there's a tree that comes over this building here. And scruffy stuff in the foreground. I may have to move this computer so I don't paint it. All right, I'm trying to look back in here. We've got this area here is kind of a, almost looks like a field. It's kind of straw color. You know, look around while you got it on your brush. If you see it anyplace else, you know. really don't. On the very edge of it, though, is fairly dark. And then it goes into a lighter green. I said there's some scruffy stuff in here behind these trees, you know, if I want it. Do I feel it's necessary, you know? Even for an 8x10, you know, when you're doing something with this much detail, it's a lot to cover. Let's paint that sky in. Now, the sky in my photo is fairly light and warm, but you know, I have the option to make it much darker, like I've done recently in some of my paintings. I think that's what I'm going to do. Ultramarine and white. You know, if I find I don't like it, I'll redo it. Remember we did this recently in a painting I was talking about Kali Weiss and how he does his skies this color. I am going to get a little lighter down toward the horizon line. I want to reserve some space to do that. Welcome to my new followers. The channel keeps growing, which is fabulous. I'm just thrilled about that. Okay, we'll put a little yellow in this and a little white to warm it up a little bit and lighten it up a little bit as it gets down toward the horizon. Try not to rub it into the tree line yet. You know, I don't want to pollute it quite. You know, in its distant tree line, you could rub this right into it if you wanted it to be softer and lighter, and, you know, depends on the effect you want to get. See, if I rub the blue into it, it cools it and lightens it, but it pulls it back too. Depends on how accurate to your scene you want to be. We're going to try that. Try to push it back and see what we think. I actually really love scenes when you have a distant hill in them. I think that's a nice effect. Brighten that tree up a lot. And we'll be redoing that chimney that I kind of lost it. It was right in there. But like I said, with the orange and the white house, hopefully that will draw your eye right there. Pulling these strokes down, so more than one building in here. I remember watching, I have some Richard Smith DVDs. He's just amazing. But, you know, he a lot of times, he'd be painting outside and he'd just throw in a blob of color. You know, you don't have to, the viewer doesn't have to know what they're seeing. And, you know, it made it interesting. Okay. That's like with those, it's just color, you know. I'm doing this on the, we get so used to doing it with a computer. Isn't that funny? All right, let's mix up a warm green. Cobalt and cad yellow medium, my warmest yellow and my warmest blue. We talked about that a little bit on my last video. I'm going to put a little white in it too, which lightens and cools. And I probably have not mixed near enough, but like I said, we've got a tree, which I don't think I'm going to put it in there. That kind of comes right through our house. This is scruffy stuff here. And I think we'll make it darker in the foreground to pull your eye back. Trying to determine what I'm seeing. That's another tree coming up through there. I'm going to have to move this computer. I'm going to be painting it. It's nice having it right here on the easel, but it's getting in my way. You know, this could be a case for using our little rubber knife, which we haven't had out in a while. This is a tool by Catalyst, and it's like a flexible kind of palette knife. You've probably seen me use it if you watch me anytime, but you know, you can just use it to cut into your paint like a scraper, or you can push paint around with it. I know that was back there, but I don't think I'm wiping it out. You know, and you could use it to cut your tree trunks in. And mess them up a little bit. We had a tree there, remember? pretty dark around the base of that house. Let me zoom in a little bit and see what I'm seeing. Okay, some of it appears to be like beds. Put our chimney back, but I'm going to hit the top of it with a little light, which may or may not work, we'll see. I like a palette knife for this because I don't want to get too picky, but you could use a liner brush and make them very precise. Make that dormer stand out. I think this kind of detail's fun. You know, we got a kind of a barn back there, another building there. This is actually a pretty solid tree. I don't really see a tree trunk in there is what I'm trying to say. But I think we'll give it some more texture. Definitely should pull your eye there then, huh? Let me see where that tree was. Right here, huh? I want to break that up. I don't want that solid. Getting paint all over my monitor. This tree, for some reason, is much cooler. I don't know that I want it that way, but we're going to try it. Might be fun anyway, right? There's some blue across there. Since I've been toning, I think my paintings are a lot more colorful, and that can be a good thing. Try a little more color in the distance. See if we like that. Put some crimson in it. You know, it doesn't hurt to spread the color around. If you put some of it here, put some there, and that might be a little bright. I'm looking at this and finding this a little confusing. I don't know what I think about that. It's a bit jumbled and it's right there in the middle, so again, I don't feel as though I have to explain everything that's going on, but I want it to look right. All right. Put a little more color down in here, I think. Yeah, I have to think about this area here. I might want to simplify it. Like I said, I've got a couple buildings tucked back in here, and there's a tree right here, but it might feel too busy. I don't know. There was some scruffy stuff in the foreground too. Typical farm scene, a lot going on. I wanted that dormer to stand out. Okay, all right. I'm going to quit and I'm going to look at it and decide if I like it. We spent just an hour on it. I'm already seeing things, you know how it is. Like I've got all this color isolated over here. You know, it is a fall scene, so like I said, I decided not to put that tree in that goes over the house. Okay, I want to change a little bit here. It's kind of cute. I'm just not completely sure of everything. Like I said, I don't know that I feel just a little too jumbled up here. I hate to remove it all because, you know, I think it's okay that you see this here. And you don't have to know what that is either. But I might consider removing that tree and make more of a defined edge of a building there. I think that might be a better way to go. But I'm going to just set it down and look at it for a while. All right, like and subscribe if you haven't. Please try to watch the videos through if you have time. It helps they look at the time that people view the videos, so I think they do. Or maybe it's the number of times they're viewed, I'm not sure. But I would appreciate it anyway. All right, comment, like and subscribe, and watch for me next time. Good night.